ye motrin kwaso so
a tree dash.
You are white to a chess and couldn't be an abba.
Oh,
double
white here at a dear bit and shit. At a point, though, now, yet Dima me say, measure white on usually Mondays and Fridays. I am a day of birth and I share white, but Ken of Furiata ever say white and NTM because now white and they represent Kunimdi.
Yes.
Nanso nya obeye the way ohwe economy so ese bibia ahokyere na ode bae so nanso de bia no hye fita atade fita no ema atade fita no koye representation of boni so sometimes we share no kra na kofo hu na no
say na wadam for the
na but me quite sure say with the return of John Dramani Mahama no yebeye niama nia fita represent Ghana ha ebesa go back to that status because kind of Furiata the dishonor e de be share sakala no because they be our white that's we hwe nia oye nothing nia oye representing kunimdie ninti o say Fita. But so being in white is not on a Friday, no. It's been a normal thing for me. But in Kunimdi, they deserving of celebrating. Now so Juma so ena nyame edi a share yensa. But nyame so mfe Juma bia share wonsa the way odi share yensa bra on maya kwankyere yedi beye Juma no. So I'm very much convinced Adoma ewo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so intia Yankopon ye na wonwade because nyame be yadia oye ni ayeye wonwa onye ni ayeye normal.
Yes.
Because oye ni ayeye normal obi abeka ne say o science na aye na enye nyame. So oye ni ayeye awonwade to know say nensa ewo afi abato a yekoto ye no na nipa oyi no utie asofo adifo a omuhye nkom ni me keka oyina almost eba no sa binim se ye to abana ye nkan kura enwie ansana ya declare say John Mahama and a wedding kunim and exactly that was what happened ye to abana wie ya ye kan wo police stations now ye quality even one single resource officially and main opponent no ebe concede say we din kugu because each say Nyankopon sa ewom because na very clear so ye din da se be manyame e woni awaye na ye din da se ama nipa Nyankopon efa omuso odi ye ni a oye no candidate na nkasa a oye president elect says ya wanfa afia bato endia grokra oye juma more than necessary edu point bi kura ye ka say o onje na hom na yama ya ka no yen ya no constituency bia wo de ni visit for primaries and ka ho oko minimum one kokura no ebe 3 one kokura ebe 3 so ebinya na either for additional visits ebia oko yie ana afashie bi ana sorry program bi ebi campaign programs nkwa or more than 3 minimum any 3 to a constituency so and that is just for this short period what they call from 2016 the visitation now why and or you be the knowledge of Omaino the geography not just say the economy and bibisa but the geography of Omaino they be a constituency district be our enemy the potential of that district the situation there's no person or was saying the president elect because from 2008 he's been moving around the country and in terms of the knowledge of Omaino he has it both the geography and the economic situations and what have you. So nyame nim nia oye yebeko so abompaye say Nyankopɔn ne nsa na ɔde ato ne so no ebeda hɔ saa ama no akwankyerɛ so a ɔde yebefa because nkrɔfo yi a mo befiri abenim no ɔmo ayɛ bɔne bebre ɛde etia na ɔmo gusu ɛyɛ bɔne no because ye ka sɛ yikura yɛkɔto aba a ɔmo di nkuguo no ɔmo koso ɛyɛ recruitments ni promotions a ensem fata nka under normal circumstances no ade anka wo sɛ we awanye ye ba be do bia ye do it you leave it for the next administration to come and deal with dan so nya omo ye no sɛ omo ye promotions omo confirming crofokra omo nyanya omo go through even the probational period for confirmation omo gusu enra na immigration before say notes to omo go for your regions in say omo fa nipa mbra na ye recruiting one at this late hour. Look, obi biara on saka promotion at this short notice you be hu hwehwem on sem fata we be go back to position now ya recruit within the short period ye say ye back day 2 o dey ye back day here ye be hwem ye be hu ya back day 2 so you have a probational period that it will be dealt with because we can't tolerate this kind of things. I know that. And yes, a payback time because even National Service Directors are appointing one in 2016 somewhere around September, October. MPP are by in 2017. They sacked them. And now you are to now you are recruiting. No, it cannot be allowed to stay. I see. You started from Buem. Now you are to a national discussion so and am I saying well a honor dear omu be nia on pese omu ye nanso ebi no by all means no they are dealing with obia eba no elections me want ase me nimia I was say me so we've put our systems in place to make sure say a dream bia omu fa not just Buem but even by extension the entire region, you then are blocking. So it was okay. Campaign throw as part and parcel of MPP for money and no creating voice, artificial intel voice. It be a dream maybe no say abino at the 18 billion and edema MPs for road construction. Any near keka ho na ye de then omo kansema ebema timemufo no afa ebufuo against the MPs na omo ewo ho be na entro but at the end of the day Ghana for like any other place my constituency na omo nya different from that omo analyze omo asitinem omo compare nyana ekoso under NDC abrana John Mahama mampenyi omo de hwe ania ekoso ne and they decided clearly said David across the country no say a party indiscriminate enye yimu oba oyempuntunjuma across oyeniama eboa timemufo a NDC so one is not surprised across the country untumi yi region bia akra enfim miana regions na yitumi ka say your opponents some stronghold no I think this time round we perform respectably well there because one yetu anamo sa ewiemu a eta akoso no reduce drastically no enti na meden da sebema party mpenifo and especially the election directorate Dr. Omani Buama and his team because they were very focused they remain focused on agenda and in our say so we want to thank them for that. The journey we have come from 2016 your defeat through the reorganization efforts the final processes yediko PA 2024 about tournament. I believe that a yield results merging some of the departments and also eboy so any each will say enye too many departments and the productivity then because we created directorate for IT and directorate of elections, but subsequently your majors are two no nipa baako say occupying that position of director election stroke IT, and it allowed for a focused engagement, a focused decision making and surprisingly, Dr. Omani Boama is one person who is also been blessed when bodies are merged. He's able to manage them. Information Ministry was merged with Communication Ministry, and he was the Communication Minister and handled these two. Then he became Director of Elections, and we merged IT and Election Directorate to become one, and he's managed it also successfully. So yabeda party branch executives and constituency executives through to the region, any national asset. Then general voters are so observant and critical. More na more bibia no more free more sending messages are guided more intel BBC koso ha and all that nina in a way helped us to respond to situation, but generally are the guidance from the party elders and also say reduce kasano na or say I think that all in all it was a good showing both in my constituency and nationally, because
but okay, say victory, but because my say on election day about President Mahama vote journalists be saying say on sure so on presidential no be winning, and they be saying say seats are all shared him there, then also they are looking up to 50 seats. It's on record. It was caught on tape or cast 50 seats. Yeah.
Our as for John Mahama, say
okay.
And the polls are any checks are and we're looking at about 54%. Though Ebinuma predicted even 56, 57.
Yes.
But now you're trying to say no just
for presidential. No.
For presidential.
Now more than 53, 54.
53, 54.
Okay.
That was what many of us were thinking.
Okay.
Say Ebeba around that figure.
Okay.
But Ebinuma also indicated say I remember somewhere in September, now Dr. Omani Boama on the Facebook wall about 57% for John Dramani Mahama. So it was within a certain range, but as at the end of now you say you be 53, 54%.
Okay. For presidential.
For presidential.
Okay.
Parliamentary, we analyzed the seats and we saw say our best performance will be about 162 and our worst performance will be 150. So to be on the safer side,
okay.
Many went for the lower side of 150.
Okay.
150 would do. But interestingly, your message in Bibia eto nkrofasum any omakumaso. So they went out there and did, because they were feeling it. Ufa Bibi to say free SHS.
Yes.
Now NDC ni candidate Mahama Eka say ye be review ayeni. Now opponent say tomorrow na omunye den omu maintaining awufo enimia omu kotru as far as secondary education concerned. Obi biara ne bawo secondary school CCA onimia okotru. Ne ba no so a no so school ho no onimia okotru. Akyerɛkyerɛ fa omo school ho any management a omo hwɛ school no so omo nimia ekoso. So omo away omo tie the NDC message and omo candidate ne the fact so say sa program yi ono na o share ase with the progressive introduction and aban baaye no obeto aso e de more borders ebeka homa sisi ade aka obia ani a omoka a yenim se ade boni pa na ewom a wo se yeye ni yie na mu de mu se o de bi yen keep no sa yento ma baumia to maintain free SHS. So the understanding of maintain, just like the way they understood review to mean cancel, no. Maintain to the parents also means say bonina associated with it no will equally be maintained. Now you addressing the importance, the main issues are have free SHS. Say you benya a reliable source of funding so that enkobano say yenya sika nkoye ebio musu obi ntinan kran enkramu mfi India na say munu kura say ya na ye de ache bag fufuru mu aka kire schools no say omo nkonkofa ye say ye de sika no beko schools ho na omo akoyum akoto say eduane bia ometo bia ebe ye eduane a eye papa enye eduane a obi aye na adwen say ope profit nti o ye den o kwakokra mu asai kura o de beko ebio musu school na adane traffic light ebinumu ko ne ebinumu ba yemma ebinumu ko school on the 27th of September. By 28th October no you see you promote one eco form 2. All these situations then parents were feeling it, so they responded appropriately. Economy now say enkoyi ye kan ba omyere ka chere say omo rate of depreciation better than obini rate. Yes. Abra nipa no free power no we near dollar we dey less than 4 cedi and we dey kwakoji $1 ene no say we dey 17 cedi and say na won saka $1 but we betimi aba begina ho oni ferry ni nti na okasa sif say so all these things were weight arrogance of power enti bebiana yen danjun kura say yebedi nkonim kura no ni nyina ye then the virus no eka mu nyina ma abato no eba no the way a ebeba enu na ye ka say nyaminsa ewo mu because nyaminsa wa die ni ma eko very very fast and far so o mine nyina dani the green because Ashanti region number of seats are yensa ekai ebin sida.
Yes.
Eastern region we have come back to a certain performance na yekura some time back in terms of number of seats. In terms of presidential performance, we have improved very well in Eastern region in terms of percentages.
After 92 and 96,
yeah.
Well, when 92 move in the Eastern region,
yeah,
and then 6 move in here.
Yeah.
So I think this is your best performance.
These are best performance.
After 96,
yeah. And we've done respectably well. And the results, are beyond your expectation.
Oh, okay.
And in America, say humbling. Ma yenya ntiase say Ghana for ewo GDA bi ewo NDC no any John Dramani Mahama. Na because say enye GDA abato no enko the way a ekoye. Na sa GDA no or say ye translating into ejuma yebeye. And at all times or say ye no one nanti on the same page.
Okay.
In governance. Because I didn't think America, sir. This was the party Ankoye Amaye with the same candidate in 2016. In 2024, no, aside the arrogance of MPP and Kahunu, Omo compare Niana Ekoso under John Dramani Mahama and in the performance.
Okay.
And Omudi then Edikotuaba. So if these people saw all this performance in 2016 and still voted the way they voted, and on hindsight they analyzed that performance against the performance of the current administration and gave us this level of support, and which I say ye babiuma ye making sure say ye no one benanti at all time, because you are dealing with an opponent onim hawa ichwantro. The MPP is good at lying, and our founder says so. Abra Yelanchi and campaign in 2016 Cape Coast. say nya omuni ni ya ne say omosisa omudin trona na say wuchi wona na omo akosisa omudin ma te say sa discussions no kura koso say MPP na wo enye nu ni enenti o say omo hwe name and rebranding. So we have to open our eyes and make sure say in governance yani Ghana for nyina be den benanti yenanti buma there's no way ntro MPP for the beba ebeye juma. So the support now any about mutuma it's the wake up call for us. It's GDA omunya ewo yen leader mu His Excellency John Dramani Mahama any party nimno or say ye bibia to sustain it. Now this kind of GDA no we handle ni here in free ho anytime soon. In free ho anytime soon because this level of gap percentage in it ye nyabe pen but so vote difference na e bin see that over 1.6 million e bin see that
mathematically we have confirmation 1.7 million
1.7 million
yes minus 9 constituencies
are young van Maye. So clearly it's a great endorsement. It's a great endorsement. We would not have to joke with it at all.
I see, but you share okay. So you should use a free SHS as a policy because me kai say the near tia mo kunyane monitor MPP su kone monitor obia message or the nam how timamfono Jennifer then oh no more wache free SHS no MPP for say NDC ba ombetwam eti obi kra kase yenkoso eduru nkoye program ho yazo ne se biga no mi chinchin pa weekend ba de to fa Western Central go nim say na eba no communication na adwuma ho obi kra kase yenkoso eduru market na yakọ ka kire say free senior high school no jo mama kase oba obetwam na de ade
that's true
be a challenge at the moment that one more campaign free senior high school policy
it became a real challenge until the communication headed by Sami Jemfi and others no kura at a point no say mo frey nyina na yenko some regions saade no akosopa ufa Ashanti region it became the talk of town na mo de dada nipa
free senior high
and you say you descending na yemman omuhu first and foremost say abra na ye chro yen constitution no na MPP for omo antecedents omo di MPP buy no omo your margin say constitution no kra omo mama yen chro because ya frefre JD4 ya frefre omo di joy at a certain low level say omo ntumi metna with those persons but sa constitution na yen antecedents na omo de buy no ekwaya ye be fa so a handle education no ya chro ewo constitution because ye mpese obi be ba daachi obeba be ye bibi foforo so ye di share constitution no say basic education e be ye free compulsory any universal na President Rawlings na osha say utu anamo to make sa basic education free compulsory and universal F-Cube and in 1995 and I launched the F-Cube program ye to one more tell about the do time or say President Kufo so ba kra nyama bi ano say oye na adwen say onye no kra no na ye pija mo ye ka ho asem eno na ema Reverend Mensa Otabel ko ye ne sermon about free na echi ye bo kire no in 2012 I was say old na tape no. So we forced President Kufo and President Kufo have to introduce this capitation grant. And the we started at the basic level. Yeba power in 2009, yebe enhance further. Emma capitation grant no through school feeding no ye call schools be bring. Ebiom ye no at that level you say okay say at basic no ye jina ye no ena President Mahama in fulfillment of the next level constitutional provisions say secondary education no and also any progressively free no or she has here with what day schools But before our best, I know, she has said, OCC new community day schools. Then he introduced free secondary education for day students. Then the next year, or the 120,000 borders or the buyer. So we made them to understand, say, Adia John Mahama na washa say, in fulfillment of a constitutional provision. Na say obi betwaswa ebeye den e no no beba say adia no nim say wo say yeye ama sha say na feed me ba betwem. He can only make it better. Now every constitutional provision yenya sha say ye di ye juma untumi me ye den embetwum. Osanso de tertiary level de no ye hu say ye wure mu no e na ye den manipa.
Okay.
Enti first year now we be wure mu no so say me hu say sa educational barrier be sound ewo ho enti ma mensan hwe na mi sa barrier no so ye den free ho eno so a constitutional provision. So omo say in all these fourth republic no adie bia efa fulfillment of constitutional provision as far as education is concerned NDC ye na ye share bibia se because Rollins no share FQ base ena John Mahama be share secondary education, progressive secondary education free as and on one so na wasama indication say tertiary level no may san be then abeshe and also as with the first years because and also progressive so e shall say e tonko for omwasuma omu say when ye endada and when he himself subsequently ye bo ni video ni audios a ono ankasa so ekoye some of the rural communities are onwa bien enum sanka say me ba be free SHS ni yie sa de ye a enye no me ba be ni yie. The parents were living witnesses, the students were living witnesses, achire for no were living witnesses, the management of schools no were living witnesses. And with WhatsApp platform for any social media for the communicating my message spread it very fast and killing the MPP propaganda because we be someone bibia almost free SHS and I to me expose in Trosso and there was free SHS and we say over 5 million have benefited from free SHS. Now so we check here omo actual BEC in social say you can say omo nyina kura beko secondary school kura omo ndru 4 million from the time I say you implementing free SHS edibepim the last batch of BEC no ka omo nyina boma omo ndru 4 million and here then over 5 million will be benefiting from free SHS. Say you say maybe omo fa kwanboni bi so area yensika because along that same line yes our communication NAP say at the national service no be nipa 40,000 yes they don't want to go data no so a ye tua sa sika no ema obi efa sika no de koye nia ope abra nipa no eni ho 40,000 by 715 CD for all this while no enye skaba. So it became apparent say either obi ti baby na sa 5 million benefited from free SHS no with twa numbers bi egu mu a ono je sa release no additional release na eno enko school. So we have to let people know, say, look, John Mahama will be truthful to them, will present the correct figures and manage the free SHS in a way Edem Faso, Bebreye Yina, Awufo, Achirechirefo, Omo management of school, any school Kodana Kasano, they will all benefit from it. And it was so good. So the free SHS, well, though it was worrying at a certain point, I think say we tackled it rightly. And we tackled it rightly. And share that I'm a higher Buem. And we run a lot of policies. Because the 24-hour economy for me was another major thing now Omundanjin. Because in 2020, there were manifesting, but we just talked about 3-shift system without giving it the appropriate name as slogan now. Ebe Karenu.
Okay.
But this time around, we give it a slogan: 24-hour economy. Easy for everybody.
Yes.
And no, can we imagine say no more person or more attack sa slogan? No say yeah, into me explain into me church. Adi no so obiba or see enye foforo e wo hodada.
Yes.
The same person who question will be so or see into me church. And the adi no wa when him say enye foforo ya ye bi pen. Then you are saying, say, you are not able to, want to me in church, and the idea I mean to me in church, we are then who say, and ye for na your hodada. So Ghanaians saw through it, say, it was a good policy that they wanted to demean. Because it's simple. Abroche, and no nanko for the Obia or Kokojina line, you say, or visa, or more munya visa, no more fro, Jane de car. Kana Eddie Jende ba Ghana no mo Africa no akofa Burkina akofa Niger akofa kwan susa akwa ko piewo Libya no mu de ewura through Italy no mu nenam saa just to go and get something adenti no mu ko ejumanti adenti no mu ko for ejumanti because of 24-hour economy ye run shift and say we nya no padia wo benya wiye de we nya wiye de wo benya nwumre de so we had to let people understand this simple thing. Afedio no more concrasing say na we crasi anu eje no mba be 24-hour. You see, well, say bibi mba directly kura. Nia ebeba wo bibi a ebema obi enye dwuma ye no. Wache ubeye waju say sika menye nti me kwa kosi dan ewo me crasi. Enti wo ko ho a Messi na onu so wo ekrasi wo a onye dwuma ye no obenya job biaye carpenter no so benya biaye and you muso nya bia they will also spend and stimulate the economy of that village omo ananka omunam ho a omunye dwuma ye because there's only one shift no ejuma na ebeba tema no maybe wuso ubetumi free me kurase tete makura na wa ba benya ejuma ni bi aye and you can go back and also invest in the local economy. You will be helping to boom. This explanation made sense to them, and they bought along with it that as compared to MP before Omoka said, we are not able to explain. Now, Omuko Jinawa, is it Sisifia?
But one aspect of the conversation, and I'm for sometimes you monitor other stations, especially those in Ashanti region. Say Obanpeni and Yatwa Badiamana from 7th January or Babidi Omanen for the next 4 years. No, it can be about the voluntary aspects of the policy.
Yeah.
Me guys, President Akufo-Addo Kraka say I didn't voluntary there and your policy. So that aspect which you say you're voluntary and your share.
And no say Niana Yeka Yeguso can say
yes.
You are buying institutions omo ye baby equine for 24-hour economy to be run
okay.
And we are buying
they are buying there into no to me was
or to me e was
okay.
Eba no private sector ye den hihye pa beba
okay.
Say opia say obeya wo fa san hihye na wa join it so that obenya wo fa so ye say ye ba be for so say o Accra brewery because you see, 24-hour economy to compulsory join the idea. Nobody can do that. But the incentives, tax incentives, energy, you say time of use meters, no? Yeah, the beba and the beba will sika ubetia after a certain time, no? Ebeye less than now during the normal time. So the explanation by and it's not going to be compulsory for private sector.
Okay.
Incentives na yede beba adie na eda ho wo gi 3 shifts wo ye 3 shifts wo benya this benefit upia na wa join so that's the policy meaning the understanding MPP understanding of what a policy is so they failed and aba Ghana fokoto ye no kire say Ghanaians understood John Mahama than them
okay
ya omo ye ni no was not taken.
Young commercial break him right to us about time. Media decided about to him whereby popular request those in Greater Accra. New meter be a by the buyer no. Man she man for better temper meter and case will be a contemporary. But new meter no honorable mobile money will be found. Because consumption rate you know what about them? Yeah, what is here?
Inside Buem Herbal Center, na you want power here, ewo my kele wunti. Say we on the via, see your body dear. Yes, I tell from pa, I hear you must know. And until truck drivers, need taxi.
Yes. We want to authenticate the PC. That is all. Oh, don't worry. Leave that one to us.
That's why I said you should give it to observe. Without due respect.
So he is not having. So why do we continue the process? Look, we are dealing with the EC's document. If he doesn't have it, we can continue the process.
To sail through this election, despite the anxiety that existed before the election. We've always managed in the last minute to pull the chestnuts out of the fire, and I think we did that again. There were a few casualties though, and I do think that it's something we must look into to make sure that it does not become a mark of our elections that people lose their lives. And so I believe that the current administration will begin some investigation to find out what happened, and we would continue that investigation from wherever they leave off. The transition teams have been set up, and they've started to work. So I hope that the transition will go expeditiously and that it will be a smooth process so that we have a smooth handover from one government to the other. And so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we'll be happy to begin some multilateral and bilateral discussions on the economic cooperation between us and our international partners. And UK is particularly a historic partner in terms of our joint history and all. And so we'll be happy to look at what the cooperation is. Of course, our priorities are restoring economic stability. That's absolutely the priority. And the second is restoring economic growth and creating more job opportunities for young people. But we do have some emergencies we need to deal with, and that is the energy sector. It's the Achilles heel of the whole economic recovery effort. If we do not do something about the energy sector, it could crash everything that we're doing. So as quickly as possible, we want to look at whatever assistance we can get in looking at the whole energy value chain and making sure we have a more sustainable energy sector going forward. And so whatever our partners can do to be of assistance, both in terms of technical cooperation and also in terms of, resource mobilization, I think it's something we'd like to look at. Aside from that, I think so far so good. The cooperation we're expecting is what is ongoing. There are few signals that have been raised in respect of some contracts that some parastatals are trying to sign off at the last minute that will commit government, the new government even, before it was coming to office. And so it's something that we've raised a signal about. And it's my hope that the Joint Transitional Team would take a look at it and deal with it. There are also reports of last minute mass recruitments.
90.5 FM Sunie and affiliate stations Eboa Yuguswati Nkunyazo Pampaso live from our studios. And the Etwawo Honorable Kofi Adams, a member of Parliament for Buem constituency, Honorable Sayako the second term. Anti Natchez and the Assault to Abaman. It was a member of Parliament. Was also MP elect. You ever sworn in for fro. Yamia Dumois. Midnight of 6:07 Friday, Natchez is sworn in as second or second term. I mean, can PC about Center Dr. Patience Coburn say and